Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Glenn. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari. Yasodanandana Bhajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Bhajana Ranjana. Jamna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jawasabhad Paramahamsa Pravijakacarya Asata Sata Shishamad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananda Gauri Vaishnava ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan ki jai. Shri Maya Pranam ki jai. Ganga Maya ki jai. Jamuna Maya ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Go Premanandi. How glorious some of the devotees, how glorious some of the devotees, how glorious some of the devotees, how glorious Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter, text number 51. We're going a little ahead of the chapter for this book distribution. This is a nice text on book distribution, along with the purport. Tatra Purvatara Kashchit Shakha Amana Atmavan Santvayan Bhaguna Samna Tam Aha Rudating Prabho Tatra Purvatara Kashchit Sakha Brahmana Atma Santvayan Bhaguna Samna Aha Rudating Prabho Tatra Purvatara Kashchit Sakha Brahmana Atmavan Sandhayan Vamna Ham Riting Prabho Tatra Purvatara Kashchit Sakha Brahmana Atmavan Sandhayan Sana Tam Aha Sandhayan Vaguna Samna Tam Ah Riting Purvat Kashchit devoted to me and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. In conclusion, if a disciple is very serious to execute the mission of the spiritual master, he immediately associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead by Vani or Vapu. This is the only secret of success in seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Instead of being eager to see the Lord in some bush of Vrindavan while at the same time engaging in sense gratification, if one instead sticks to the principle of following the words of the spiritual master, he will see the Supreme Lord without difficulty. Srila Bilvamangala Thakur has therefore said, Bhakti stvai stiratara bhagavan yadisyat dhaivena na fatati divya kishora murti mukti swayam mukun tulitai sevate sman dharmarth kama gotaya samaya patiksha. If I am engaged in devotional service unto you, my dear Lord, then very easily can I perceive your presence everywhere. And as far as liberation is concerned, I think that liberation stands at my door with folded hands, waiting to serve me. And all material conveniences of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha stand with her. Krishna Karnamrita 107. If one is very highly advanced in devotional service, he will have no difficulty in seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one engages in the service of the spiritual master, he not only sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but attains liberation. As far as material conveniences are concerned, they automatically come, just as the maidservants of a queen follow the queen wherever she goes. Liberation is no problem for the pure devotee, and all material conveniences are simply awaiting him at all stages of life. Om Jnanatam-anandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Mukam Kotavachalam Pangunang Hayategarin Yat Kripataraham Vande Shugurum Dinataranam Vanchikalpatubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Here we're hearing how this Brahmana has come and let the queen know that you have a very good old friend. Who is the old friend, the good old friend, very good old friend? Krishna. Now throughout the world there's so many religions, but I don't think there's any religion that says that God is your friend, your best friend. But this is the position of Krishna. Everybody likes to have a best friend. Right? So Krishna is the very best friend. And one purport, Prabhupada says that Krishna, he is never inattentive in the deliverance of the jiva. Krishna comes to help us because he knows no matter what situation one is in this world, there'll be some suffering. Some more, some less, but suffering will be there. And being the kind friend and father, it's pretty rare to have a very good friend, a best friend, and he is also your father. Anybody here have a father that's also your best friend? No. In India you'll see that sometimes. They're close. You're close with your father. Yeah. No, he's a devotee, right? He's a devotee. But us Westerners, it's very rare for Westerners to have a close relationship with a father. What to speak of, friend. But this is the situation. This is the reality. Our very best friend is also our father, and the father is always thinking of the welfare of the child. So Krishna comes to help us. And if we help Krishna in his mission, then he's very pleased. This is called Vani Seva, as we're hearing here. There's Vapu Seva, there's Vani Seva. So this Vani Seva, following the instructions of Krishna, is very auspicious. Yeah. And he gives so many instructions. Yeah. In the Bhagavad Gita, he gives so many nice instructions that help us advance in spiritual life. So if we're giving his message out to others, then Krishna is very pleased. So many people they say, well, if there's a God, then go ahead, show yourself. They want to see God. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, don't try to see God, but act in such a way that God wants to see you. So if we're out distributing His message to the conditioned souls, then Krishna is so pleased, and He's looking down on us favorably by this transcendental activity. There's one instance where a devotee was preaching at a prison, and many prisoners there were very favorable and becoming devotees. So this devotee would sometimes ask them, well, why are you in prison? And one of the prisoners said, my best friend had a relationship, had an affair with my wife, so I killed him. Yeah, this is not an uncommon thing. You know, friends having affairs with their mate or something, or wife. So here's his best friend, but he turned on him. It's like when I was growing up, I had a really close friend, best friend. We were so close, blood brothers. We went everywhere together, so close. But then, as time went on, gradually the friendship faded away. Because it's just the nature of this world. Things are temporary in this world. But this relationship, this very friendly relationship we have with Krishna, is eternal. And nothing can stop it. He'll always be our well-wisher. He'll always be our friend. Problem is we've forgotten. So now we're trying to remember who we are. We're trying to remember who Krishna is. So the spiritual master, he helps us to remember. And as Prabhupada mentions here in the purport, that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that one should accept the order of the spiritual master as one's life and soul. Vyavasayatmika buddhya, ekeha kuruna, bahusaka hinantas, buddhyo vyavasayana. That those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. The intelligent, those who are not on this path, there's many branched. They can't be resolute in purpose. So we have to be focused on the order of the spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada, he's the Acharya, he's the founding Acharya. He's the spiritual master for generations and generations of devotees to come. And his greatest desire was that this message of Krishna, that it be distributed widely throughout the world. And Srila Prabhupada, he says in one purport, and of his many pithy statements, Prabhupada has all these amazing statements. He says, the pure devotee does not have a material body because of his being surcharged with the current of Krishna's identical interest. So this is the pure devotee. Does not have a material body because of his being surcharged with the current of Krishna's identical interest. And because Srila Prabhupada, he had such a strong current of Krishna's desire within him, he came to the West to spread the message. And many devotees, many people, they caught that current. And then they also spread that current around, this transcendental current. And when we go on book distribution, if we're sincerely trying to give Krishna to others, then other people will also catch this current and find interest in reading one of Srila Prabhupada's books, then they really catch the current. Yeah. When we distribute books, we're giving out Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. It's a great combination. Just like Prabhupada says in the purport that the spiritual master, he is compared to gold. And Krishna is compared to a diamond. The two together are very beautiful. You have a gold ring, you put a diamond in there. There's different colored. You get a blue. There's blue diamonds, green diamonds. So many different. Put a different colored diamonds in there. It's very attractive. So the combination of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna are very attractive, and therefore this movement has spread all over the world in such a short time. So there's certain things that Krishna wants us to do, and he makes it very clear about what he wants us to do. It's like in the, I think it's Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, he says, prana artha dhyavacha, that all living entities should be ready to give their life for the spreading of Krishna consciousness, for the benefit of others. Prana artha dhyavacha. So throughout the world, people are giving their life to so many nonsense things, wasting their life. Hari Hari Vipale Janama Koinu. Narottam Das Thakur, he says, O Lord Hari, I've wasted my life having not worshipped Radha and Krishna. I've willingly taken poison. So many people are like that in this world, wasting their human form of life. This human form of life is actually very rare. 8,400,000 different species of life. So to get the human form is such a rare thing. And finally, people get the human form, and then they just do the same thing as the animals. What a terrible waste. So when we go out on book distribution, we're giving people an opportunity to utilize this human form of life properly and not waste it. Yeah. Just like we were also wasting our human form of life. Then somehow, by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we got this knowledge. And now we're utilizing this human form of life properly in the service of Krishna, in helping others. Srila Prabhupada wanted devotees to dedicate their life for the spreading of God consciousness. Yeah. So prana artha. Artha means that one should give one's wealth. It's like some devotees, they can't participate in the book distribution marathon that's taking place right now. By the way, it's, for those of you that don't know, it's going very well. We've ran out of books almost. We have to get some more books. We thought we had enough books, but the books are going out so much. We've almost run out, so we're going to get more today or tomorrow. We're going to have to get more books. So it's going quite well. So for those of you that can't go out for some reason, you're working or family or something, you can sponsor books. Srila Prabhupada said that if someone helps in the preaching mission, then Lakshmi Devi becomes your treasurer. So if you have Lakshmi Devi as your treasurer, you're in good shape. Because Lakshmi and Srimati Radharani, they're so happy to see that Krishna's glories are being spread. You can imagine. Radharani, she's the most dear to Krishna. Krishna is the most dear to Srimati Radharani. So when Radharani sees that we're out spreading the glories of Krishna, her Lord, to the conditioned souls, you can imagine how pleased she must be. So we get the favor of Krishna, we get the favor of Srimati Radharani, we get the favor of Srila Prabhupada, the entire parampara. So it's very auspicious, a very auspicious activity. So prana, artha, diya, we got to utilize our intelligence for the spreading of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. And when we're distributing books, there'll be many people that will give excuses why they don't want to take a book. Yeah. So we have to use our intelligence, how to convince them to take a book. Yeah. And Lord Krishna, he is known as Diyampati. Diyampati means the Lord of intelligence. So we pray to Krishna, please Krishna, give me the intelligence by which I can convince these people to take this divine message that you've given to us. Yeah. So prana, artha, diya, vacha, and our words. We should utilize our words. Just like on book distribution, we're utilizing our words all day long, trying to convince people to take this great mercy of Krishna. So it's a great way to utilize our ability to speak. Yeah. The tongue is very difficult to control. The tasting and the speaking. So if we're speaking about Krishna and we're speaking to convince people to take Srila Prabhupada's books, it's the best way to utilize our speech. And when we're distributing books, it's actually, as Prabhupada said, it's a transcendental adventure. Book distribution, preaching Krishna consciousness. It's a transcendental adventure. You never know what's going to happen. Sometimes I go out on books and right from the time I start, so many people are taking books. And it's so ecstatic. And then the flow just stops. And it'll go for like an hour or two and no one takes the book. So then you got to pray. And sometimes you go out and you're right from the beginning, no one's taking a book. It's like this happened last Sunday. I was out there for like an hour and no one's taking a book. It's difficult. People coming by, looking, checking it out, listening, don't take a book. One person took a book in an hour. So I thought, well, let's maybe change the spot. Sometimes it's good to change your spot just to get another atmosphere, another change of, So that happens. So I changed the spot. I went to another place. And to my great surprise, while I was there, after about 15 minutes, this madman came by. And he's trying to fight with everybody. Yeah. And people are just ignoring him. People understand. He's just crazy. So they're just... But he's going at them as though he's going to fight them. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is not going to help the book distribution. This madman's going around picking up chairs and throwing them in the garden and just acting completely insane. So then he comes over to my table and he starts banging on the table, knocks the table down, grabs a book. And he's just speaking very violently, And there's one guy not too far away, big guy, comes over and he chastises him, and he back off. So he came for my protection. Krishna sent him over. So then the guy backed off. So then he left. The madman left, and then my protector, he left, but then the madman came back. And he's just insane. So then he takes his phone. I was trying not to look at him, just trying to distribute books. But he takes his phone and he throws it at me. And it just, I see it speed by me about, a few inches from my face. And it was just becoming insane. So then he runs away again. And by then somebody had called the police, and then he understands the police are after him, so he sits down at a table, and he's still got the book. Somebody's still got the book. So then the police see that he's harassing some other people, and they handcuff him, put him in the car. The book was still there, so I went over and got the book. But I was thinking afterwards, I should have asked the policeman, can you give this book to him? When he goes when you put him in the cell, can you put this in the cell? Maybe it'll help him out some. Yeah. I didn't think about that. It was just madness. So this craziness went on for some time. So a couple hours went by. One book distributed. I'm thinking, oh God, this is going to be a tough day. But then, by Krishna's mercy, people just started coming, like anything, and taking books. It's just, I couldn't believe it. It was just amazing. So many books were going out. And then I called over these two guys there from South Africa. I've been to South Africa many times. So I said, oh yeah, I know South Africa. I've been all over South Africa. And they were surprised. Not many people go to South Africa. So I showed them the Bhagavad Gita and presented it to them and asked for donation. They said, no, we're not interested in these things. But thanks anyway. So I said, well, hey, would you like to give a donation anyway? And he said, all right, I'll give a donation. So he's looking through his wallet, and he said, today is your lucky day. He gave $100. So I said, well, please, now you got to take at least one book. Take a small book, because they're traveling around. So I gave him a Science of Self-Realization. He said, all right, I'll take this, check it out. So he told me it's your lucky day. But actually, that was his luckiest day, probably in his whole life. Because he gave a donation to Krishna, and he got a book. So, very auspicious. Actually, people don't know how fortunate they are when they receive one of Srila Prabhupada's books and give a donation. I mean, who knows how many lifetimes it's been since they were able to engage in some service to Krishna. So it's very auspicious. And that we're being instruments in their getting a chance to serve Krishna is very auspicious for ourselves. We can't count our blessings, how much mercy we're getting by going out and giving people an opportunity to serve Krishna. Another interesting thing happened a couple of days earlier, like Friday or something. I was at Ocean Beach, and I had just pulled up a Sankirtan vehicle, and as soon as I stopped the car, a person opens my passenger car door, sits down and starts talking to me. So I smiled at him, and he looked at me and said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." His wife is the car right next to it, looks exactly like my car, so he thought he was sitting next to his wife. "I'm so sorry, my car is next to your car," so he gets out. "No, that's okay, no problem." So after he got out and he went to his car, sitting next to his wife, I went over and I said, I had a similar experience with a friend of mine. We went to pretty far out. We went to a park, and we went to our car to go in and drive away, but he couldn't turn it. So I said, well, let me try. So I took it, fiddled with it, and I was able to get in. And after we got in, we both sitting in the car. I'm looking around. I said, this is not our car. So I told him that story. So then I said, there's no accidents. I come here to distribute transcendental knowledge, and you're the first people that I speak to today. I have this book called Bhagavad Gita. I showed them the book, and they enthusiastically took a Bhagavad Gita. So that was the first time I ever distributed a book in that way before. Get into my car. So, yeah, you never know what's going to happen. How someone gets a book. You never know. Like there's one person, he was at a concert. And he's standing there talking to some friends, maybe 3 or 4 friends. And he sees a book coming towards him. And he catches it. And it's like, where'd that come from? So he said, I guess I'm meant to read this. Yeah. So what happened was, somebody got a book. I mean, it happens that somebody gets a book and they look through it a little bit, and I'm not going to read this. And of course, a concert, crazy kids, I'm not going to read it. Just threw it up in the air, and landed in this person's hands. He read it, and he became a devotee. It's amazing, huh? Transcendental adventure. I got some good news this morning. I got a call from a person who got a book from me, and he had come here this morning because I told him, we have on Tuesdays I give a talk on Bhakti Yoga. And you could come, and if you like, you could come in here. Today, somehow he got a day off. His boss called him and said, "Hey, you don't have to work today." I said, "All right, hey, let me go hear some about Bhakti Yoga." But it's closed down. So I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. When we open up, I'll give you a call and let you know you can come." But it's so inspiring. He got a book, he's reading it, he's chanting, and now he came to the temple to hear more. So it's auspicious. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to come in, but hopefully in the future he'll be able to come and associate with the devotees, take prasad. Vijaya Prabhu, I'm going to tell you a few Sankirtan stories now. Vijaya Prabhu, he has something called the penny principle. Anybody know what the penny principle is? Glenn knows the penny principle. When he's distributing, he says, "Hey, can you give a penny?" But actually, it's probably not the best way to start. But what happens is devotees go on book distribution, and if someone says, "No, I'm not interested," there's a Vijaya Prabhu tells them, "Well, can you give a penny?" Now that's the last. That's the last. That's like you reserve that for the last thing, not the first thing. So this devotee was at a house, and they were going door to door, and he showed the book to this man, and he said, "No, I'm not interested, but thank you anyway." And the devotee said, "Well," he's showing the Bhagavad Gita, big Bhagavad Gita. "I'll give it to you for a penny. Can you give a penny?" He said, "All right, I'll give you a penny." So he goes upstairs. And he's looking around in his drawer for a penny. Literally, he's looking for a penny. So his wife, comes by and says, "Well, what are you looking for? I'm looking for a penny. This person's at the door, and he's got this book. He wants me to give him a penny for this." So she takes the book out of his hand, and she looks at it, and she says, "This is the Bhagavad Gita. This is a classic. This is one of the great classics. This is a nice book. Don't be so cheap. What are you going to give him a penny? That's ridiculous. Give him a nice donation. This is a classic. I've heard of this in college. I read some of it. This is a great book. He said, all right. He went down and gave him $50. First he asked for a penny. He got $50. That's pretty good. So it's always good to ask for a donation. If you stop someone and for whatever reason they don't take a book, always ask for a donation. Yeah. And people will give. Sometimes they don't want the book, but they're generous. They want to help out, help the monks, So it's very important to remember. I was distributing books in New Zealand, maybe 20 years ago. And we were going door to door. And one person answered the door and I offered the Bhagavad Gita. He said, no, I don't want one, but I have something for you. And I was thinking he's going to bring a Bible or something. But he comes back with the Bhagavad Gita. He said, I got this years ago. I'm never going to read it. Give it to someone that'll read it. I looked through it, and I'm not interested. Give it to someone that might be interested. So I tried to tell him, well, no, maybe not now you'll find it interesting, but later, maybe later you'll find it interesting. Give it some time, maybe you'll read it. No, he said, nah, I'm never going to read it. Just give it to someone that'll read it. So actually, I had run out of Bhagavad Gita, so that now I had a Bhagavad Gita. So we said, all right, thanks, and we'll pass it on to someone that might find it interesting. So as we're leaving, a car pulls up in the driveway. So I thought, let's try to distribute to this person. So he stops his car and gets out, and I show the Bhagavad Gita to him. And he's like, oh yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, I'd like to read this. But I don't have any money on me. I have to go up to my flat, to my apartment to get some money. So there's two apartments, one on the bottom, one on the top. So the Bhagavad Gita that I had just gotten was from the top apartment. So that's the same book I was showing to this person. So I said, do you live on the top or the bottom apartment? He said, I live on the top. So we go up, me and my Bhakti Luke. So we go up there. He says, yeah, come on. So we're waiting outside, and myself and Bhakti Luke were praying to Krishna, Krishna, please, don't let his friend see him with this Bhagavad Gita, because he's going to, probably convince him not to take it. So we're praying to Krishna like this. So he comes, and then he gives a donation, and we take off. So the moral of the story is, if Krishna doesn't want to leave, he doesn't leave. So he ended up back in the same apartment. And the person that gave it to us must have been surprised. How is this book back here again? So, interesting. Book distribution is very interesting. So one more story. This one person, before he joined, he was a professional chess player. So he would play sometimes with 7 people at a time. He was so good. But then somehow he got a book and became a devotee. So he stopped playing chess. It was just a distraction to his devotion to Krishna. So he was going door to door, book distribution. It's a good book distributor. So he spoke to one person, and he was trying to convince him to take a book. He said, no, I'm not so interested. I probably won't read it. But then he noticed on his coffee table there was a chess set there. He played chess. So the devotee said, well, how about if we play chess, and if I win, you take the book and give a donation. How's that? He said, all right, let's do it. So they sat down. And within 2 minutes, he defeated him. He's a professional. So the person was shocked. Oh, you're pretty good. So he got the mercy. It's called dovetailing propensity. I mean, dovetailing is propensity to to play chess in the service of Krishna. Okay, any question or comment?
We do that in basketball. Like if we're good at basketball, can we challenge like a pacify? Hey, it takes to the courts. I won one-on-one game.
Well, I guess you could if you're going by a basketball court and you're walking around distributing books. You can give it a try, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you do personally, because sometimes it could be a little, because we're discussing how to deal with different people, and specifically like recently these kind of fanatical people of other religions, and they're fanatical. I mean, because the thing is, at table you're kind of stuck there. You know, if you're walking, you could say, "Okay, buddy, like see you later," and you could kind of take off. But if you're stuck at a table, and then you got somebody pretty much harassing you, what are some good lines to kind of get the person away? Because a lot of the time, sometimes devotees, they try to preach to the guy or give him a book, but some of these people, they're just, you're not going to get far with them.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you asked that question. When I was distributing books while standing up, it wouldn't be an uncommon thing. It was a pretty common thing. Christians would come and they would harass, like in the airport or actually only in the airport did that ever happen. It never happened at a concert or anything like that. So what I would do, I'd say, "Sir, just wait here. I'm going to go get the police." And then I'd walk away. And then they would go away. I had an interesting experience in Miami airport once. I was distributing books and the same thing. Some Christian just coming by and just harassing us like anything. And even when people would get a book from us, after they would walk away, he would go to them and say, "Excuse me, do you think you'll read that book? You probably won't. Do you think you'll read it?" "No, I'm not going to read it." He'd get it from them and he'd rip it in half in front of us. This guy was such a demon. And he was just like, he would break up sales. I mean, this guy was the biggest demon I'd ever seen. So in Miami, we had very good relations with the undercover police. So I saw one of my friends coming, undercover police, and so I said, "Hey, Joe, this guy's harassing us. Like, he's ripping up our books, and there's just harassing us. Like, I've never seen anything like it." So this Christian saw me walking with this person, Joe, the undercover cop. So he starts telling the undercover cop, "Don't take a book from them. They're just a cult. They're a bunch of demons." So the undercover cop pulls out his badge. He said, "You got 2 seconds to get out of my face, or I'm going to take you to jail." And the guy's jaw just went, and he went running. We never saw him again. So it's nice to have undercover police around that are your friends. No, you go to prison for that yourself. That wouldn't work. So, but what's interesting is I've been working the table now for 30 years. Well, let's see, since 26 years. And it's never happened. I've never had an instance where a Christian came and bothered me. I mean, they might a little bit, but then I'd tell them like, "Well, it was nice talking to you. You have your belief, I have my beliefs. I'm not going to follow you. You're not going to follow me. So, have a nice day," and they would leave. Yeah. So it's Krishna's mercy. I never ran into a serious problem with Christians harassing me. But many times they'd just break up sales and not leave me alone. In Germany, there was an instance where a devotee was trying to do 100 books, big books, in one day, and he was up to 97. And this guy came and it was like that, just harassing him like anything. But there was one other book distributor there. She was from America. and she used to be a policewoman, and she was big. So he went over to her and said, "This guy keeps on harassing me," and she was tall and big. So she just, when she saw that he was harassing him when he tried to distribute, she went over and she just started pushing him. Just pushing him. "Get out of here, don't bother my friend," just pushing him. And the guy was like, "Oh, what?" He took off running. It's also nice to have a big Mataji around that's kind of got a Kshatriya nature. Never saw him again. Then he was able to distribute his books. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki